Ladies and gentlemen, hope you're all doing well, and welcome to this community showdown. It's going to be the Demons of Chaos led by Pathetic facing off against Lord Shaftesbury and his dinosaurs here on the Gates of Ekrend. And I believe this was a ladder battle, of course. Gates of Ekrend, one of our maps that did get added to the official pool. Pretty cool stuff. Now, front line for the Demons of Chaos is going to be Blue Horrors of Tzeentch. Now, they will get folded up pretty badly by Saurus Warriors, but give some nice utility shooting. I actually don't know what the best option would be against dinos. Normally against Lizardmen, I like to have shielded infantry against all the skinks and javelins and cohorts, but obviously demons don't have that luxury. So yeah, I suppose blues aren't bad. They can get some nice focus fire and do some counter skirmishing. Pink's in the secondary, and it is going to be Grand Vomitus, the Prince of Buboes, up in the sky. So he's the big man. He's there to party, and he's going to be using Rancid for sniping. He does have Miasma Pestilence and Stream of Corruption as a bound spell. Very risky not bringing a heal on Grand Vomitus. Against Lizardmen, they have Tempest, Solar Engines, lots of shooting, so you can get into a very dangerous situation if they go for a sniping build. On the other side, couple Nurglings and Fiends of Slaanesh up in the Vanguard. Fiends are pretty good in this matchup, but again, it's kind of that paradigm of can you avoid the Skinks and the Javelin Fire and the Saurus Spears and whatnot. If so, these things will trade very well into a lot of the monsters, into the Cold One Riders, etc., etc. So that's going to be it. Now for Lord Shaftesbury, he's going to be using Chameleon Skinks in his main battle line. Up in the sky, there is going to be Ripperdactyl, so standard anti-infantry variant, and the dreaded Coatl. Now, I don't know if this is like a meme or if it's been making its rounds in competitive play, but I've been seeing a ton of Coatls, and against demons, it actually makes a bit of sense, right? Because they do magic damage. They have 2 bound magic abilities, which are very good against demons, and they themselves are magic damage fighters, so that means they'll be surpassing the 20% physical resist that you see on most demonic units. So very, very clever girl indeed. So Lizardmen are probably going to want to hold on Objective 2 if they can. Lord Mazda Money on his toilet seat is going to be the Lord option. Arcane and Forging and Apotheosis are going to be the 2 spells. And I think the Lizards maybe have an advantage over here between the Ripperdactyl and the Coatl. They could probably win this fight until Grand Vomitus arrives. Oh, never mind. I didn't notice this. In the bushes, we do have Khorne's best doggo. Such a good boy. So well behaved. It is going to be Karanak. And yeah, he's not bad, certainly. Especially against his Slan on a toilet seat. If he's able to get on top of Mazda Money and just make it so he can't cast spells, that's incredibly brutal, right? So back in the pits here, objective number 3 being fought over. Nurglings trying to hold, eating some blow darts. Definitely would like to see the Ripperdactyls dive on these Nurglings. I think that'd be a very, very good play if they end up doing that. On the other side, a bit of a standoff. Solar Engine just shooting into the Pinks, which is a good choice. The Pinks are the DPS engines here for the Demon's Army on this side of the battlefield. So using the fat Solar Engine shots right down the pipe and blasting some of these little gremlins is going to be very, very nice. So they are going to be getting some of that sweet, sweet DACA. Now, on the other side of the battlefield, we do see the Chameleon Skinks getting hit by what appears to be some sort of a wind spell from the demons. It was the bound ability from the Shrieking Skyrays, the Lamprey's Bite, which is pretty good. But 2 objectives go to the demons. It looks like, old Karanak was able to fend them off, keep them from wanting to dive in there, and Grand Vomitus, of course, is no slouch of a fighter. But yeah, if he gets focus fired by like Colossodons or surrounded and doesn't have healing, man, oh man, he's going to regret that. However, 9,500 HP is a lot to work with, and he does have the Nurgle lore passive, so at least there will be some minor healing when he casts spells. So Coatl diving down, going after Karanak. Karanak going to be running into the bushes, the dog in the woods, the wolf in the woods, whatever you want to call him. I think he's more of a dog, right? It's wolfish. But the fight is on. Will Karanak win this fight? Probably not. I mean, he does hit a lot harder, but the Coatl has quite a bit more HP, and the magic damage is pretty impactful. You can immediately see Karanak taking a bit of a whooping here, so I would expect to see the demonic cohorts come in, and maybe the Coatl's going to get trapped. We'll have to find out. Now, 2 Colossodon Hunters, or Ripperdactyls, excuse me. They'll be really good against Furies, a little bit lackluster against the Screamers and some of the bigger targets because they're more designed with their bonus versus infantry. I mean, they still have 54 melee attacks, so it's not like they're terrible against big targets, but the Colossodon Hunters are the ones that really, really shine. On the other side, the demonic hordes are going to be advancing, and they're getting pretty good value out of the gates. The popcorn fire from the blues and the pinks adding up, and it does look like the lizards have left a very paltry garrison over here, so most likely they're going to be losing objective number 2 as the battle does rage on. On this side, Shrieking Skyrays up in the sky are taking the fight with the Ripperdactyls, who do get afflicted by the Miasma Pestilence. Shield of the Old Ones is going to be the response from the Lizardmen. And where is Mazdamundi? Is he sitting on his toilet seat somewhere? Yes, he is. He's in the woods. A couple skink cohorts, and I definitely like the Chameleon Skinks on the ground, providing ground support. That's very, very big. Now, who would win this Air Force fight? Probably the Demons, now that the Angels of Decay are out. They're a big game changer. I mean, aside from their unholy hand grenades, which is really what you bring them for, they're very good fighters as well. So they're going to be throwing some nades in there, actually wasting the grenades, unfortunately, on the skink cohorts. I mean, it does a little bit of damage and does mitigate some of the anti-air shooting, but you want to save those grenades like exclusively for big targets. Like if you can win the Air Force fight as the Demons of Chaos, and then use those unholy hand grenades on Lord Mazdamundi, some of those other pieces, that could be pretty cool for sure. So, objective number 3 is here, and objective 2, they both belong to the dinos. So the dinosaurs do have the objective advantage. The demons are going to be the ones who need to push up. Looking at the current points, though, the demons do have the points lead. Not by much, but by a little bit. More Furies being called in, and Another unit of Plague Drones. Okay, now Plague Drones have been considered to be pretty haggard, but if they do have applications, it's against like armored cav units, like Empire Knight equivalents. We'll see how they fight up in the sky against the Ripperdactyls. I mean, they should do okay. Karanak is getting hunted in the woods. The dog, the beast, being chased down by the Ripperdactyls. But honestly, this isn't even a bad fight for Karanak. He's not infantry size, so they're not going to get their bonus. And also the trees are mitigating a lot of the DPS from those guys. They're going to have trouble getting good surrounds because of the terrain. Furies, though, will get ripped to shreds, as we've said. But the Demons are getting a really good push over here. The Lizards definitely need some sustainable infantry, like Shielded Sars. Ooh, Kroxigors are also very nice. Sacred Kroxigors do magic damage, so if they're able to pop out of the trees and just bash these pinks and get right on top of all three of those units, that would be an MLG play for sure. On the other side, a couple Fiends trying to move in. Fiends are very expensive, but very, very powerful. Very much a glass cannon. That's pretty much Slaaneash's entire thing. But they've already lost a lot of HP, and sure, they're going to kill a couple Skinks on impact here, but I can't help but feel this is going to be a very disastrous engagement for them. The Chameleon Skinks putting a lot of hurt down on them, but there are some Fleshhounds of Khorne nearby, and the ammunition is actually very low on these units, so maybe that was part of the threat assessment we saw here. Now, back in the middle, this looks to be a more important fight. We do have a big Royal Rumble. The Ripperdactyls do commit. They end up attacking a couple ground-based units with the support of some of the Skink cohorts, but getting attacked by the Shrieking Skyrays and the Furies of Khorne. That's a lot of deeps right there. Plague Drones and Grand Vomitus going to be jumping in as Mazda Muddy does respond with a big old buff right there, so the shield of the old ones. Going to be giving a nice ward save of 20% to these Ripperdactyls, but I think they're just outgunned here between the Plague Drones, the Shrieking Skyrays, which are a dedicated anti-large unit. Even still, though, they do manage to get some of the Furies down, which is good, but this is going to be a losing fight for the Dinosaurs for sure, and they're most likely going to get pushed back, unless the Sacred Kroxigors make their way over. Oh, look at the MLG Karanak play, though! Alright, so Karanak gets back here, the Doggo of Khorne, and he uses Prey of the Blood God and Rancid Visitations on Battletoad. Now, trying to snipe Battletoads, as we've joked many times on stream, Battletoads are the sweet sirens of the sweet. They're thick toads, luring many a men to their death. But alas, we're going to see if Karanak and the Demon Prince here, Grand Vomitus, are going to be able to get it done. But he can't cast spells right now. So when Karanak is near you, he's going to be giving you a silence effect. So right now we can see it is not the Endless Hunter, but the Brass Collar of Bloody Vengeance. That's quite a mouthful, isn't it? But the Kroxigor is maybe going to get a kill on Karanak, and it looks like Mazda Mundi, yet another lad going to be falling to the siren call of the Toad of Lustria, Lord Mazda Mundi, trapping Karanak, but not before he does a lot of damage, and most likely we could see Grand Vomitus get back up in the sky, fly over there, and maybe do some work. So this objective taken by the Demons, but it does look like the Lizards are going to have the opportunity to get that one back. On this side of the battlefield, looks a little bit rough for the old Demons of Chaos, so they did lose those Fiends, and it looks like the unit of Fleshhounds that was sent with those Fiends is also taken apart. So a lot of it's going to come down to this fight here. And looking at the standing armies on the battlefield, I mean, the two Sacred Kroxigors are definitely a big problem, but Angels of Decay, Vomitus, and Fiends are, like, I would say, a soft counter against the Sacred Kroxigors. They have the good armor piercing and really, really hit like trucks. But the Sacred Kroxigors can also fight back with the magic damage that they do have, right? Don't they have magic damage? Oh, it's the Karanak thing. They do have magic damage. Yeah, I was like, I've been casting this. I know most things in this game, but if they didn't have magic damage, I was going to be really shocked. But Karanak actually removes magic damage from nearby units, which is really cool. So up in the sky, Angels of Decay bombarding Mazda Mundi, but he's juking in the trees. Eric Cartman here. Well, I mean, technically, the Eric Cartman of this game is probably Grease's Goldtooth, but, this guy, I think this guy's a close second in terms of the appearance, that's for sure. 2600 getting nuked, but the trees are providing very, very ample cover. Grand Vomitus up in the sky, going to be duking it out once again while we look over towards objective number 2. So objective 2 here is going to be the Fiends attacking in, chewing through some of the Skink cohorts, and objective. So objective number 1 belongs to the Demons, objective 2 to the Lizards, and objective 3 is looking to be in Lizard control as well, as a couple more blues are going to be getting called out by Pathetic to try and push those down. Fiends retreating away, which is smart. A lot of kind of small arms fire here. They definitely don't want that smoke. They want to find an isolated, good engagement for themselves. And the Angels of Decay trying to put this game on Nurgle's back, using those fat hand grenades, 721 HP. Do they have enough ammo to finish him off? Probably so. So he's bobbing and weaving through the trees, but some of the fire is hitting him here. He's getting worked on. Looking at the HP, he's at 141 HP, and will Cartman go back to play World of Warcraft in his dungeon? Find out here today, as the grenades do connect, and Mazda Mundi is going to be taken out. So that's a big win for the Demons of Chaos. Getting a pick on the Lizard Lord was super necessary because many other aspects of the battle are actually a little bit cagey for them right now and a little bit sketchy, I do dare say. The Lizard army on the battlefield, the standing army, is very strong. We have 2 Sacred Kroxigors right here. We have also a Solar Engine that's still functional, has a lot of ammo. Fair amount of infantry units back here, including the very elite Star Chamber Guardians. So yeah, things are getting a little bit sketchy. But on this side, we do see the Chameleon Skinks and the cohorts trying to fight off the Blues. Blues have mediocre combat stats, but good enough to fight against like a Skink Skirmisher, right? And they're numerous too. They have 160 models, so they could probably fight off these 2 Chameleon units, and most likely will give that point to the Demons of Chaos. eventually. So going to be a very, very cagey close game. I have a feeling Mazdamundi could be resummoned as well. You know, he's not terribly expensive if you just bring him with 1 or 2 spells on his toilet seat. And now we do get some Plague Toads of Nurgle being called out. So Plague Toads are good against Saurus, good against Skinks, but not probably super good against Sacred Crocscores. But I guess he just wanted some mass there. We'll have to see. So the Crocscores attempting to capture the objective, while Grand Vomitus, the Prince of Bubos, going to be eating some shots with his Shrieking Skyrays, which are down to 13 models. Plague Drones here very beat up as well. Angels of Decay, pretty healthy still. They have 12 of 12 models, so their fighting capacity is going to be very good. That's for sure the play. Get the Angels of Decay to go try and finish off the Sacred Crocscores, because if the Demons of Chaos can, you know, use their more maneuverable army that actually still has a Lord and take down the 2 Sacred Crocscores here, I'm fairly certain that they're most likely just going to be closing out and winning this game. On the other side, the Blues, like I said, winning over here. Their numbers and their health able to get the job done, so that objective is going to be going to the Demons of Chaos. And now I can kind of see the beginning of the end for the Dinosaurs. For you know, a moment there, I wasn't sure. I was like, is he going to have enough stopping power to deal with this? But with the 2 Sacred Crocscores being isolated by Fiends and Plague, this is like one of the few situations where Plague Drones will be decent, is their fighting prowess and also the Unholy Hand Grenades into these guys. So both Sacred Crocscores are for sure going to get routed. Outside objective is going to be going to the Demons? Yeah, I was about to say Dinos, but no Demons. Looks like they do end up getting that. I wasn't sure if something else had arrived since we had looked away, but 1 Sacred Crocscore going to be taken to Pound Town by the Demonic Hordes. You can see their Power Fist will not save them here today. And on the other side, the Fiends will probably be able to edge this fight. Oh my god, that guy just got sent straight to Slaanesh inbox right there. But nonetheless, 14 models on the Fiends, very, very strong. The Lizards are just calling out hordes of chaff units, but I feel like the Demons have a big advantage now. They have an objective advantage with the 2 objectives and will be passing them in points very soon. They also just have a much stronger army on the field. So Sacred Crocscores, though, showing why they're an absolute gigachat of a unit. But the Soporific Musk, so the stinky musk of the Fiends, actually lowering the stats of the Sacred Crocscores to a very low amount. Look at that, man. 23 melee attack for a second. That is very, very paltry. That is super, super low. So Crocscores do get broken off, and how will they stop this onslaught? I believe Karanak is still alive as well. He's kind of lurking around here somewhere. Let's go ahead and check. So we got the Fleshhounds. We do have the Plague Toads, the Fiends, Vomitus. Okay, maybe Karanak. Yeah, here he is. He's a good boy. So it looks like he was either resummoned or maybe got some sort of a heal, but I think he was resummoned. So he's going to be lurking around the back, and Mazdamundi is going to be... Oh, this is such a Haggard bug, by the way. So when Mazdamundi dies in domination mode and then you resummon him, he comes back with on it like as a ghost on his toilet seat. So the ghost of Mazdamundi returning to claim vengeance upon the old world. This is like one of those bugs that is just funny, and I just hope... Like, I wouldn't even care if they never fix that. That would just be hilarious, but... the ghost of Mazdamundi returns to banish the demons. Very, very lore-friendly, right? But good Arcanine Forging there, and able to get a lot of damage on Karanak. But the Hound is relentless, and once he gets on top of Mazdamundi, it's probably going to be spelling his doom. If he has the snare ability as well, you snare him, and then Grand Vomitus comes over, the rest of the Demonic Horde collapses. Oh, you know what? I didn't remember that the Star Chamber Guardians are still here. I thought this was just a skink unit from the distance, but no, these are actually very elite fighters. Okay, these guys might actually be able to fight off the demons, but the bigger issue for them is going to be getting ground. Really, really good Stream of Corruption. Beautiful cast there by Pathetic, but Lord Shaftesbury, he's not out of this game quite yet. Star Chamber Guardians going to be trying their best. Definitely need to get them on top of the Fiends and the Plague Toads over here. So is Karanak going to be going into the trash for the second time? Lord Mazdamundi taking a bit of work, but he is able to maneuver away on his old seat there. And Grand Vomitus, what is he going to be doing? Man, he could Mortal Kombat these Ripperdactyls. They are not anti-large, and he's got pretty damn good melee defense. Nurgle stuff typically has high HP, high melee defense. That's pretty much their entire gimmick. And the poison as well is nice. It'll mitigate the damage output of the Rippers, but yeah, you probably would want a little bit of support to do that. So the ground fight does begin. For the Demons of Chaos, I think the path is very clear. Basically, you keep the fight over here as long as you can. Keep calling in infantry units and chaff, and try to trade as effectively as you possibly can in this situation, because you have the 2 objectives, right? The status quo favors you. Outside, I don't think the dinos... yeah, you definitely leave this. I don't think the dinosaurs are going to have any easy chance of getting that quickly, and you're ahead by quite a bit now, and before you know it, the Demons of Chaos are going to be in a situation where they're going to be winning on 1 objective. But Lord Shaftesbury's coming for blood. Ripperdactyls afflicted by the Miasma Pestilence, going to be lowering their melee attack quite a bit. On the backside, we do see the advancing Blues, and yeah, just the grindy demonic units getting through these pieces. A really, really good target priority as well. Shooting into the Star Chamber Guardians. Now, they do have silver shields, but it depends on which direction they're facing. If they're facing the wrong way, the shields aren't going to be helping them, so if you're like shooting them in the back. A really good Stream of Corruption. And honestly, yeah, you can see them down to already 30%. So they've been focus fired and hit by some really nasty magic. Mazdamundi with a nice MLG play, though. Good Ruination of Cities. Brings these guys down to about half health. Banishment there, also going to be tickling these Blues. And up in the sky, the Greater Demon is fleeing. Arcanine Forging, really, really nice. Will the Nurgle Beast survive? At this point, maybe just turn and fight. You're just kind of getting chipped on the back, and you might actually be able to break these units, but we'll see. I mean, he's at 10 leadership. When demons like full on crumble, it's really bad. Okay, there's some sort of an army ability going down. Oh, the Narcissism. So the demonic army ability activated, snaring down Rippers. Will he get away? You need to, at this point, you need to like zoom in and make sure you're not like pathing into an enemy unit. So you need to individually like run out and around those particular units right there. So maybe he's going to get away. He's unstable. Okay, that's going to be the end of the road. But the demons are also threatening to take the home objective here of the dinosaurs. Mazdamundi able to get his revenge as Grand Vomitus. You know, his ghost came back and he did banish that demon. That was his entire thing. You know, he was so mad about it. He had to return in his ghostly form. Demons, though, in a very commanding position. Because at this point, you just reinforce Objective 3. Like, the Lizards have a huge consolidated army over here, right? So you fight here while you can. But then you send every other reinforcement probably over towards Objective 3 here, since you already have it and you already have a unit there, and then you just Helm's Deep on that point. And the Dinos just straight up will not have the time to win this. But really fun, interesting game for sure. Got to see some cool elite units, Star Chamber Guardians proving their mettle here as they continue fighting. And despite being focused by magic, these Chad Lizard Warriors are going to be able to grind through a lot of the Fiends. Value, wow, 1,600. So despite all that pressure, they were able to pay for themselves and do some very, very nice work. Always cool to see elite infantry doing their work and putting in that effort. But yes, that's going to be it. 14, only a little bit of time left. We'll do some fast forwarding to see if there's any shenanigans. But even still, this objective is being threatened to by the demons. But now Lizards will hold it. But that is a victory for the Legions of Chaos. GG, well played. Fun match between both these players. We got to see Karanak and Grand Vomitus, the Nurgle Khorne. I feel like Nurgle and Khorne would be kind of homies in some way. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, like we know which like Chaos Gods don't like each other, but I pose the question to you guys in chat: which Chaos Gods like each other? Like, which ones are homies and are like, what's the relationship dynamic between the big four and the lore of this in this old universe? And 40k, you know, fantasy, whatever. It's kind of the same thing there in regards to the Chaos Gods, right? But yeah, fun stuff. Looking at the value here, Grand Vomitus 2,000, 1,400 here. Fiends kind of got shut down a little bit by the shooting. Plague Drones, okay. Plague Drones at 1,500. They didn't do bad at all. 3,100 on the Shrieking Sky Rays. Goddamn. 2,200 here. Up in the sky, 600. Solar Engine at 15 as well. And yeah, certainly made for a fun game. GG, well played. We'll see you guys around. And that is it for today.